You're listening to Gay SA Radio, where you are family, and I'm chatting to Eden Michelle, who's going to be performing at the Mr. Gay World competition in May. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I think I'm surviving. It's been a roller coaster, but a pleasant one. You are touring the States at the moment, and you said you've been there going on, what, 3 months, 4 months?
Yes, we've been here since the 23rd of January and we'll be leaving on the 1st of April. So it's just short of 3 months. It's been an incredible tour. I'm here with Dan Shaw. Yeah, it's been really, really exciting.
Tell me a bit about yourselves, the history, all the juicy bits.
Juicy. I can give you some technical side of me, and then juicy I'll have to think about. I was classically trained as a pianist from a young age, and I went into the pop scene in South Africa for quite a while. I produced a rock album with a producer in South Africa called John Buckley. And I traveled quite a bit. I did a high school tour in South Africa. And then when I turned 17, I came to the States, and I was here in 2010 and 2011. And then I came back to South Africa, started producing music full time. And then I moved to London about 2 years ago. And whilst I was in London, I met with Dan Shaw, who's a singer-songwriter, and we produced her album, which is called The Smoke, whilst we were in London. And there was just such a great demand for it and such high traction and incredible compliments and everything. So we decided to put together a US tour, which led us here, which is why we're here now. And there have just been incredible opportunities that have opened up for us while we're here. We've been performing. Every show we've done so far has been sold out. And whilst we were here, we got an email to be asked to perform at South by Southwest, which is one of the biggest music conferences in the States, which was very, very exciting. And we did that last weekend, which was amazing. And yeah, so now when this tour's over, we're heading back to South Africa to do a whole bunch of performances there. And we're both incredibly excited to go back.
And from South Africa, heading back to London, or any more performances lined up?
Our initial flight back from the States is back to London, but we're planning on doing a bit of an EU-UK tour from July. So we'll be in South Africa for 3 months, and then we're going to be touring the UK.
Don't you get exhausted?
Can't you hear it in my voice?
I can, absolutely. You sound drained.
Yeah, it's also the time zones are it's like we're constantly moving through time zones, and we're just both very, very tired all the time, but you got to make it happen.
Specifically in the States now, I mean, this has been a whirlwind. Then you're on one side of the kind of continent, and then you're on the next side.
Yeah. When we initially flew, we were in New York at first, and then we flew straight away to Vegas, and I mean, that's like a 5-6 hour difference. So even then it was very strange and hard to adapt to the time zone difference and stuff. But I mean, also part of the difficulty is that Dan's family's in South Africa, my family's in Cyprus, so which are luckily the same time zones, but when we chat to each other, it's always at silly hours or where we would preferably be sleeping in. So yeah, it's been challenging, but very, very exciting at the same time. And I mean, we're incredibly lucky to be here and to be doing what we love.
I think next question I have is, girlfriend, how do you cope?
Music saves lives.
I like that motto. I really do. I think we speak the same language, you and I.
And I think when we perform and when we get the incredible responses that we do and stuff, it honestly makes all of this worthwhile.
How did you get involved with the LGBTQ plus community?
I met a guy named John Louis through a mutual friend, and John I actually have a lot to thank for, because he was the first person that managed to get me to play on 5FM with DJ Fresh and Catherine Grenfell at the time. And I did it was a song called Scream, which was written about bullying. And John obviously realized that it had a lot of relativity to the LGBT community and what goes on a lot of the time in the community. And he loved the song. So I performed it at Mr. Gay World, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, this year he's asked me again to perform, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. We're going to be launching a new song called You and I. It's got a bit of an EDM dance feel, which is the genre that I've been going into now. And we're going to be performing that at the gala event. It'll be the debut performance and the debut release of the song.
Tell me a bit more about the song. What's it about?
It's basically about two lovers, and no matter what they're going through, no matter what the world thinks, no matter what they're feeling at the time, they just love each other, and it's always just about you and I. It's just about having fun in life and knowing that they'll always be together, that kind of a thing. So we've got a couple ideas for the music video, and we're going to push with everything inside of us to get it ready for the event. But nonetheless, we will definitely be there and be debuting the song and the performance, and yeah, it'll be great.
Who would your dream artist be to share a stage?
I used to have an incredible inspiration, I would say, in my music from Avril Lavigne, but that was when I was younger and I was a bit in the pop rock scene or whatever. But I think it's kind of changed now. There's so many artists I would work with, so many artists that are so diverse and interesting. I think the best show that I've ever been to was definitely a Lady Gaga show. I think the performance and her actual stage presence and her stage performance, no one's ever beat that, in my opinion. So I would definitely love to work with her and see what we can come up with together.
You told me about the new single, but what can we expect about your performance at Mr. Gay World? Any surprises?
You and I, as I mentioned, is a bit of an EDM sound, but what we're going to do is we're going to be performing it at one of the club venues as a dance track. And then at the gala event itself, we'll be doing a stripped down acoustic piano version with very intimate, which when you hear his damn voice, you'll realize how beautiful it is.
So, and growth, how have you grown as an artist from the first time to now?
I think at first it was, geez, I don't know how to explain it. I think at first you're not sure what to expect when you do performances and you're just starting out as an artist. The more that you tour and the more that you travel and the more people that you meet, and you realize that people just have like an absolute passion for music. I've grown so much in the sense that now it's literally just about having fun and performing. It's not as stressful as it seems or sounds. Whereas before it was always a thing of being nervous before a show and stuff. Now it's like, it's just so much fun to get up there and see how people respond and see how people react to the music. So we can all ultimately actually have a great time together.
And then while you're in South Africa, you mentioned you're doing other performances. Where will you be performing?
So we're planning on doing a couple Sofa Sounds, which is this international sort of platform for artists to perform. The minute we arrive, we land in Joburg, and about 2 days later we fly to Cape Town, and we're performing at a wedding for some very special guests. And then we will be in Cape Town till about the 24th of April. And then we fly back to Joburg, and then we'll fly to Knysna for the Mr. Gay World. So it's quite a lot of traveling within SA, and then there's a possibility of a show in Lesotho. And
what can we expect from you in the future?
A lot of collaborations with very talented artists globally. I'd love to get more involved in the Mr. Gay World community and create change and create awareness around it. And yeah, just great productions, a lot of good shows, and hopefully you'll see my name in many places.
I have to do this to you. If you are busy with a show or just after a show, I storm onto the stage and I do my best Queen voice, and I go, "Oh my God, it's Eden Michelle!" And I ask you to sign my bum. Would you sign my bum for me?
Sign your bum?
Yeah, do an autograph on my bum cheek.
Absolutely.
You would. Good answer. You've passed the test.
I think that's my favorite question so far.
It's going to be awesome to have you in South Africa. And I think my last question is, if people want to hear your music, where can they get hold of it?
You can find it on Spotify, which I believe is just released in South Africa, and that's great. You can find it on iTunes, on YouTube, everywhere you pretty much look online. But if you want to find me on social media, my handle on Instagram is @EdenMichelleMusic. And then on Facebook, it's facebook.com/EdenMichelleMusic. And then, yeah, I guess just in general, if you type into Google by Eden Michelle, it'll come up with multiple platforms depending on what country you're listening in or country you're living in to be able to go and purchase it online.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.